the soul, rather as the pet animal and the sheep itself, knows its master. And it is not surprising it's been there. At the moment of its ignition, it came with a spark from the bosom of the Blessed Trinity. It was made directly by God, for God. And it somehow knows where it belongs. People who are much tormented, abused by others, somehow know when they feel goodness again, actually this is home, and this is what I was really meant for. The soul also somehow knows it on the deepest level. When it is involved in violence, even though it may be told to commit violence by some strange teaching, it instinctively knows, actually this can't really be right. When great suffering is caused to someone else, something deep down in the soul says, are you sure this is home? Unfortunately, a soul is influenced by bad teaching, to the extent that one sees the bizarre situation of people sacrificing their lives for a bad cause. Just the other day, in the main street of Drogheda, there at the steps of the main church, where we have the head of St. Oliver Plunkett, our great martyr, the last of the army of Tyburn, there was a Protestant from the north holding forth for all he was worth in harangue after harangue against everything Catholic. And he was of good faith. A bizarre situation indeed. Did he really, deep down, feel that convinced? One cannot judge. But yet, I've been there, and I know, because I was also an anti-Catholic evangelical, and I know deep down that I somehow had the instinct, am I here fighting against something good? And even when studying the history of the Reformation, while still an evangelical Protestant, when it came to the demolition of great chunks of Europe, there was something inside me which said, it's rather a pity really. And so it is that we understand the Lord's teaching. The sheep hear his voice, another they will not hear. There is a shift when he sees that he is not understood. Initially he's talked about the gatekeeper opening to him. So we have the shepherd, and we have a gatekeeper, and we have the sheep. But then he goes on to make a transposition. I am the gate, I am the door. And this has theological implications. This matters also to us. When the then Cardinal Ratzinger gave a clear teaching by the publication of Dominus Jesus, when he was looking after the congregation for the doctrine of the faith, he indicated that this blurring of the lines, this rendering equal of all, was actually erroneous. and that salvation depended on Dominus Jesus alone, repeating that teaching of the Lord himself, I am the door, no one can come to the Father but by me, and indicating also precisely that it's a question of salvation through Calvary. We forget that for all those centuries no one got to heaven. Mankind had been expelled from paradise. The paradise door was locked and sealed until a few moments after the Lord had been able to declare, today you will be with me in paradise. He was able at his last breath to pierce it. It is accomplished. And then we have all the cosmos that breaks loose. And so, when he shows his trophies, he's indicating, now and only now may you enter. And that still is the case. And so anyone who in glory is there is not there without being in the church in some way. For as it was explained well by the Council Fathers in the dogmatic constitution on the church itself, Lumen Gentium, the church is the sacrament of salvation of the human race. It is therefore the channel through which the power and grace of Calvary comes to humankind. And so it is that one has to be participating in its merit and radiation and healing grace. How that is done in the case of people of good faith, only the Blessed Trinity can know. But we are told that outside the church there is no salvation. Already Boniface the VIII declared this, and it was renewed at the Council of Florence. And theologians over the centuries have grappled with the fact that therefore there is an equation of the Redeemer and the church he founded insofar as it passes through the mystical body. And therefore all salvation involves that mystical body. And no one can be in glory without being involved in it. And so it is that when the souls arrive on the other side, they see, oh, it was true after all. We can only hope that they were not truly of bad faith and bad will. Just commend to the Lord those that are on the brink. For the danger is that those who have the fullness of knowledge are fully unaware, quite often, of the responsibility they bear. And so it is that others who haven't the fullness of faith but the fullness of goodwill are closer to the mystic centre, in a sense, than those who have perhaps even the priesthood and are not living according to the divine will. It can happen. And very often when we see priests leaving, it's because for a long time something has been wrong, early on and going on, and never handled. The Lord is not taken in. He sees the goodwill of souls wherever they are. He loves them wherever they are and tries his level best wherever they are to make them participant in the merit of Calvary, and therefore to bring them somehow into relationship with him and therefore with his mystical body. And in there we find all our brethren. Somehow in prayer we know they're there mystically present. One day we'll see, actually, the blood of Christ washed us and linked us all, even though we didn't fully understand when we were on this side of time.